Level 10 thinking, how to elevate your mind and think like the best in the world. I will share with you my 10 principles of level 10 thinking. Where do these principles come from? 20 plus years of study and spending time with the world's best performers from the areas of sport, business, and the military, as well as learning from some of the top performance psychologists in the world. So, what I did was I reverse engineered the world's top performers in the areas of sport, business, and the military in terms of how they thought about things, how they thought about the world, how they thought about performance, how they thought about uh, calmness and happiness. And then I combine that with lessons from the world's top performance psychologists. And I said, okay, where's the overlap here? Where is the consensus of experts? And I narrowed it down to these 10 principles, which I'm about to share with you. And I will also share with you the Level 10 library, some key books that will help you develop your Level 10 thinking. Now, for each one of these 10 principles of Level 10 thinking, I want you to rate yourself on a 1 to 10 score. And at the end, we'll identify which of the 10 that you need to work on the most. And what I can tell you is, my personal goal is to be a 10 out of 10 in all 10 of these. That's my goal on a daily basis. That's the goal for my life. And if you can embrace and apply each one of these 10 principles, you will dramatically increase your happiness. You will dramatically increase your performance. You'll also dramatically reduce your stress and anxiety, okay, and increase your fulfillment. That's how powerful I believe these 10 principles are. Let's get started. Principle one, take 100% responsibility, no blame, and no excuses. Now, for each one of these principles, I'll share with you some thoughts from some world's experts on each of these principles. And this one's from Jack Canfield. He wrote my all-time favorite book on success called The Success Principle. And Jack says, if you want to be successful, you have to take 100% responsibility for everything that you experience in your life. This includes the level of your achievements, the results you produce, the quality of your relationships, the state of your health and physical fitness, your income, your debts, your feelings, everything. And here's a quote from Jocko Willink, retired Navy SEAL commander, best-selling leadership author, expert on leadership and high performance. And Jocko tells us when the excuses go away and people can actually confront the fact that this is all because of me, it hurts. But it is also unbelievably empowering because if these problems are because of me, then I am capable of fixing these problems. Extreme ownership hurts and it's painful. And it is also liberating because now you have control over your fate and over your destiny. And that is a glorious thing. In terms of taking 100% responsibility, no blame, no excuses, a book I highly recommend is The Success Principles by Jack Canfield. Principle number 2, choose positive words. No mindless negativity, gossiping, complaining, blaming, criticizing, condemning, venting. Focus on kindness and forgiveness. Anger and resentment is like taking poison and expecting the other person to die. Here's a thought from Nick Trenton, wrote an outstanding book called Stop Overthinking. And Nick says, remember that forgiveness is something you do for yourself, not the other person. When you forgive, you are releasing yourself from the stress and energy of resenting and blaming the other person. So 2 books in terms of your level 10 thinking library, 2 books on this particular principle. Your True Home by Thich Nhat Hanh. It's a daily reader. Thich Nhat Hanh was a Buddhist monk, beautiful writer, beautiful simplicity, and very applicable. Everything he talks about is very applicable in the moment. Okay. And the second book is Stop Overthinking by Nick Trenton. Principle 3, be the ultimate simplifier. Relentlessly prioritize the one most important thing. Here's a thought from Richard Koch. He wrote a book called The 80-20 Principle, and the 80-20 Principle tells us that very few things matter, but they matter enormously. And this is in Richard's words. Concentrate on the things that are most important. Here's a quote from Warren Buffett. The difference between successful people and really successful people is that really successful people say no to almost everything. I just say no to everything that is not moving me toward my one or two most important goals. And here's a few book recommendations for your Level 10 library. The One Thing by Gary Keller, Essentialism by Greg McKeown, 15 Secrets Successful People Know About Time Management by Kevin Cruz, and The 80-20 Principle by Richard Koch. Principle number 4, focus on solutions, not problems. And here's a quote from Dr. Jason Selk. He's a friend and mentor of mine. I believe he is the #1 expert in the world on peak performance. And also, I believe happiness and fulfillment as well, stress reduction. Jason's an absolute legend. And Dr. Jason Selk says, keep moving forward. When you have problems, keep moving forward. Stay in the fight. Don't ever let those problems win, because there's always a solution, always. And the book I recommend for this principle is Relentless Solution Focus by Dr. Jason Selk. I believe every man, woman, and child should read this book. It's that powerful. I believe every organization should read this book. It's that powerful. Principle 5, focus on what you can control and ignore what you can't. And here's a thought from Dr. Eric Potterat. Dr. Potterat was the performance psychologist for the Navy SEALs. He also worked with the Los Angeles Dodgers recently when they won a World Series, the U.S. women's soccer team, and Red Bull's professional athletes. And Dr. Eric tells us the best performers become very good at controlling the controllables and ignoring the rest. But that can be challenging. It helps to have a mantra. So I encourage my clients to stay in the circle. What's in the circle? Attitude, effort, and behavior, the stuff you can control. What's outside the circle? Everything else, all the stuff you can't control. Here's another thought from Nick Trenton. Cut through the clutter with these 4 questions. What can I control? What can I not control? What can I do to improve my situation? What really matters the most? And the 2 books I recommend for this principle are Learned Excellence by Dr. Eric Potterat and Stop Overthinking by Nick Trenton. Principle 6, choose a positive interpretation and response to every situation. There is no such thing as a problem. Everything that happens is simply an opportunity to learn and grow. Here's a quote from Jack Canfield, author of The Success Principles. Jack says, E plus R equals O. Events plus responses equals outcome. The basic idea is that every outcome you experience in life, whether it's success or failure, wealth or poverty, wellness or illness, intimacy or estrangement, joy or frustration, is a result of how you have responded to an earlier event in life. Likewise, if you want to change the results you get in the future, you must change how you respond to events in your life, starting today. And the book I recommend, or books I recommend on this, for principle number 6, choose a positive interpretation. The Daily Stoic by Ryan Holiday. It's an outstanding daily reader. The Success Principles by Jack Canfield. Book's so good, I've got to recommend it multiple times for our Level 10 thinking. And Reframe Your Brain by Scott Adams. Tool number 7, focus on the present and the process, not the past or the outcome. Here's a quote from Brian Cain, one of my favorite thinkers. He's one of the world's top mental performance coaches. He's worked with countless Hall of Fame athletes and world champions. And Brian says, anxiety comes from obsessing over the future. Depression comes from obsessing over the past. Optimal performance comes from a focus on the present moment. Be here now. And the books I recommend on focusing on the present and the process are Right Now by Steve Chandler and The Charisma Myth by Olivia Fox Cabane. Principle number 8, run towards the fear. Make the emotionally most difficult choice. Here's a thought from Tim Ferriss, wrote a great book called Tools of Titans. He's written several best-selling books and also has an outstanding podcast. And Tim Ferriss tells us usually what we fear doing is what we most need to do. That phone call, that conversation, whatever the action might be, it is fear of unknown outcomes that prevents us from doing what we need to do. Define the worst case scenario, accept it, and do it. Here's a quote from Bob Moore. My strength did not come from lifting weights. My strength came from lifting myself up when I was knocked down. And a few books on running towards the fear. Making the most emotionally most difficult choice. Fearless by Steve Chandler. The 50th Law by Robert Greene. Elite Minds by Dr. Stan Beacham. Principle number 9, amplify the good. Focus on your strengths and what you've done well and what you're grateful for. And here's a quote from Dr. Michael Gervais, another top peak performance psychologist. Confidence comes from one place and one place only, what you say to yourself. It's that simple. At any given point in time, we are having a conversation or dialogue with ourselves. You are either speaking in a way that is building confidence or destroying confidence. Being aware and mindful of your inner dialogue is really at the center of being able to grow and pursue potential. It is a skill we can develop. We can guide our mind towards those conversations that build. And a few books on amplifying the good: The Confident Mind by Dr. Nate Zinsser, Relentless Solution Focus by Dr. Jason Selk, and Stay Sane in an Insane World by Greg Harden. Principle number 10, have a continuous improvement mindset. Be curious and coachable. Be an expert listener. Be able to think different and change your mind when you receive better information. Endlessly seek feedback. Never stop learning and growing. Here's a quote from Kevin Kelly. If you repeated what you did today 365 more times, will you be where you want to be next year? Here's a quote from Vernon Howard. Be patient. As long as you are studying, reflecting, and trying, you are making progress. Someone walking forward in the middle of the night may not be able to see how far they've gone, but they are still making progress. And here's one more quote from Dr. Jason Selk. A pattern I have seen with highly successful people is what I refer to as the attack mentality. Having an attack mentality means there is always one thing you are trying to improve. It's not trying to improve everything all the way, all the time, but rather consistently working to have one thing you are trying to improve by just a little bit. Those with the attack mentality don't wait for life to get better. They make life get better. Okay. And book recommendation for this principle, that continuous improvement mindset, is the Success Principles Workbook by Jack Canfield, which accompanies the workbook. Which accompanies the Success Principles. And then once again, Relentless Solution Focus by Dr. Jason Selk. So let's talk about, now that we've talked about the attack mentality from Dr. Jason Selk, I want you to attack the one out of these 10 principles that you scored yourself on the lowest. You scored yourself the lowest on, and or the thing that you believe if you improved it would dramatically improve your success, your happiness, your calmness and peace of mind, your positive impact, or any or all of those. So I want you to identify that one that you scored yourself the lowest on, and I want you to attack it, as Dr. Jason Selk says, for the next 30, 60, 90 days, whatever it takes to raise that schedule up, whatever it is to raise that score up. And I guarantee it'll have an incredibly positive effect on your life overall, as it has on mine when I've attacked each one of these 10 principles. Now, you can think about these 10 principles in terms of a very simple question: is this thought helping me or hurting me? The thoughts that help you will be our level 10 principles. Those are the thoughts that help you. The opposite will be the thoughts that hurt you. So let's finish up with the focus 10. These are 10 questions that will allow you to identify which side are you on. Are you on the level 10 side? Or are you on the side that is hurting you, where you need improvement in terms of your thinking? And again, thoughts become things, and everything happens twice, once in our mind and once in reality. Everything starts with our thinking, which leads to our actions, our behaviors. Okay, so you really want to lock in on these focus 10 and be on the right side of these our level 10 thinking. So the focus 10, you want to think about it like this. Focus is everything. You want to ask yourself, where is my focus the majority of the time? Blame and excuses, or 100% responsibility? Where is your focus? That's question number one. Question number two, and all these correlate with our 10 principles of level 10 thinking. Question two, anger, resentment, and condemnation, or compassion, empathy, and forgiveness? Question number three, the trivial many or the vital few most important things? Number four, problems or solutions? Number five, what you can't control or what you can control? Number six, the event that happened or your positive response? Number seven, the past and the outcome or the present moment? Number eight, fear or self-belief? Number nine, what you did poorly, your weaknesses and what you don't have, or what you did, or what you did well, your strengths and what you're grateful for? And number 10, maintaining the status quo or continuous improvement. So once again, my challenge to you is identify which one of these 10 that you believe you need to improve the most. That'll have the greatest positive impact on your life and everyone that you have an impact on. I challenge you for the next 30, 60, 90 days. And there's two ways to do this. Okay, actually, I'm going to give you three ways. Number one is to attack the level 10 library. Attack the book or books that will help you improve that principle. Okay. Number two is to come up with a few what I call power tools. These are mantras or affirmations that remind you to think in a way that helps you, doesn't hurt you. And then number three, enlist one person professionally and one person personally who, when they hear you speaking in a way that is not level 10 in terms of that principle, they will call you out and challenge you to be better. So those are the three fastest ways I've found over the years to dramatically improve your thinking. Number one, attack great books on that principle. Number two, have one, two, or three power tools, also known as mantras or affirmations, that will remind you to be on the side that helps you on that level 10 tool. And then number three, enlist one person personally and one person professionally that will challenge you and call you out when you are below the line in terms of that level 10 thinking. I wish you an elevated life of success, happiness, and positive impact.